the divine constitution of Moorish America. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of Moorish American are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the said government and must live the life accordingly. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government and know that they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted into 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and mind pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah, Islam. Should be read at every meeting.
Islam.
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 Tazamaji, Benjamin Bey, Brother Bennett Bey, Islam.
Islam.
To be proclaimed in every meeting. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend on for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves can take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling on all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world would not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work, in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish Divine and National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover's for the same. Noble Drew Ali. Oh yeah, brother Ben Bay, Benjamin Bay, yeah, Islam. Let's see who else. All righty. So this is an excerpt titled "The Monad Master, the Holy of Holies." Tahuti / Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus. Philosophy is the love, the study, or the pursuit of wisdom, or of knowledge of things and their causes, etc. This consciously assenting attribute applies to critical analysis and examinations, whether the subject or matter is theoretical or practical. Being a cornerstone of ancient Moabite Moorish culture, philosophy was generally introduced to neophytes with a structured study of the seven liberal arts and was categorized into three branches. The first branch, natural philosophy. Natural philosophy is knowledge and study of natural things, objects, and phenomena, which is called science. Second branch, moral philosophy, is the knowledge and study of human conduct and actions, which are referred to as ethics. Third branch, metaphysical philosophy, is the knowledge and study that involves natural reasoning and deals with the ultimate reality and with the most general causes of things. This is in contrast with revealed knowledge, thus, the rational analysis of the incorporeal and transcendental, and abstract thinking, the study of the divine and natural law of cause and effect. This is a treatise we are presenting basic, ancient, historical, and philosophical truths that are fundamental to civilization. These primal, high truth cultural principles have heavily influenced all modern organized religions, yet have lacked proper observance and recognition. The reason that these principles are not commonly known by the masses is due to Inquisition book, burnings, and other forms of mass destruction ordered by the popes of Rome. Once again, review the Antikythera Divina Bulla. Note the deliberately orchestrated miseducation initiated for conquest, theft, genocide, and control purposes. Other elements of primal ancient philosophy have also become distorted and misrepresented by the unclean hands of less honorable persons whose desires, duplicates of Rome, are to control, rob, and deceive the people. Many historians, anthropologists, sociologists, and pseudo-religionists are politically comprised and with forethought would rather be the hypocrite than to admit their contemporarily flawed, altered versions and distortions of the cosmology culture originating with the ancient ones. Let us examine the following text and observe the origin of what many people today refer to as deity. Tahuti and Thoth and Tahuti and Hermes are one and the same. Most students of history and philosophy are more familiar with the name Hermes. However, we must always remember the origin of the name and of its primal connection to Tahuti or Dehuti. And so, in reference, this treatise, which is about divine and spiritual philosophy, we are addressing a primal part of that ancient Tahuti philosophy by the way of the Tahuti or deity name Hermes. Keep in mind as we advance in our future analysis of fundamental cosmology principles that they are embodied within true ancient religion, which is a study of the universe. Such studies involve all the planetary ecliptical or eclipse aspects, connecting influences, and relative affections on human existence and character development. Upon this basis of mathematics and calculus, conjoined with philosophy of its informational dispensation, comes the rooted association of deity and the collective unified forces of nature, concluding to the principle of monotheism, a oneness or holistic view of the cosmos, or the expanded application of Dehuti or deity, representing the sun deity, Ra on earth. Consequently, the ancient ones were never confused about the truth of Dehuti or deity, and were thusly Gnostics, meaning those who have knowledge, and not mere pseudo-religious believers in vague personifications of the forces of their influence. The ancients knew by the way of mathematical calculations and rational thinking, the moral truths and order of the heavens as expressed through divine law or nature's law. And so, Hermetic students of philosophy must be astutely clear that the contemporary religious concepts promoting the belief that the word God and the word deity are synonyms are definitely invalid and misleading. Tahuti Hermes was also associated with high cultural principles of civilization, philosophy, the love of learning, was the inventor of writing and of natural healing. The Houthi sacred or secret animals were represented by the ibis, or by a baboon depicted with the head of a dog. Tahuti or Thoth was depicted or symbolized in Kemetan or Egyptian cosmology as a man having a head of an ibis or a dog. Tahuti was also called Tahuti. Now let us review the nature and characteristics of the Hermetic principles that collaborate ancient Kemetan religious cosmology culture. Note, there are 7 Hermetic principles that have been taught to the adepts of the ancient mystery schools of Egypt. These 7 principles are the basis of occultism and the keys to all phenomena. Phenomena relates to the ancient Moabite Moorish culture and school of philosophy that stands on the principle that the study of nature is done rightly through examining the factual information as derived from measurements and measuring an unbiased statistics. The philosophical tools anciently presented by the Moabite Moors for earth measure or geometry are symbolized by the compass and the square. This symbol is archaically called isonomy or isonomy. Nature hides in her bosom the greatest secrets of life, and the one who applies the instructions they give can read her like an open book. Thus, the veils of secret truths and messages codified within the Torah, the Septuagint, the Bible, the Holy Quran, Vedas, Upanishads, etc., become unveiled and reveal themselves as having origin from a common root of knowledge, namely cosmology, science, philosophy, and culture. For these texts are all derivative in some form and coming down from the ancient of ancients, occult teachings of the ages. The philosophies of the ancient ones, veiled truths, are sometimes relegated by the uninformed to mere contemporary misconceptions, entrusted to the contrary nature, are reflected in the commonly accepted social states of religion. This involves a definitive lack of understanding. Thus, the advent or arrival of the intellectual or spirituality inspired condition of being blind, or referencing an existing state of spiritual blindness. Learn these ancient precepts and clear away much of the design confusion that has muddied the spiritual paths of the masses due to institutionalized dogmatism and its favored companions, misunderstandings, superstitions, and vagueness. Mastering these seven hermetic precepts is key for the neophyte, scholar, or adept to unveil the sacred concepts in ancient philosophy and religion. Thus, hermetic principles are primal for those who walk the path of humanitarian progressions and spiritual ascension. The application of these seven precepts constitute what is referred to as applying the master keys to open the doors to all knowledge. Gnosis. And most of us are familiar with these principles, but let's get some repetition in. So the first principle, mind. All is mind and everything is energy. The universe is mental. Correspondence. As it is above, so it is below. Reflecting congruent qualities. Vibration. Nothing is stationary. Everything vibrates, gives off light or sound. Polarity. Everything is double and everything has opposite. Thus, extremes meet. Rhythm. All is ebb and flow, as demonstrated by action and reaction, advance and recoil, cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Everything happens according to the law. Generation. Generation is manifest in everything, and everything, animate or inanimate, is masculine and feminine. So Tahuti is the Kemetan name for the guardian, ruler, and invoker of the moon. Thus, Tahuti is the origin and advent of the word deity, right? So the moon are planets or deities. Thoth and Hermes are other names later given to Tahuti. Therefore, adepts, scholars, and neophytes should be made aware of the linguistic fact that when one references Thoth or Hermes, they are giving testimony to Tahuti deity and Tahuti. The Kemetan Dehuti or deity Tahuti in the names Hermes Hermetica, Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes Thrice the Greatest are all related to and are all Greek transliterated name for the Kemetan deity Tahuti or Thoth. Modern and contemporary historians and scholars may not choose to display the truth of the redundant and varied linguistic forms applied to Tahuti because a logistical approach to analysis of the modern recognized word deity would prove that the contemporary forms of religion as derivative as well as being distorted. Thoth and Hermes, being Tahuti, is the ancient of ancients, legendary author of the works and sciences, embodying the magical, astrological, and alchemic disciplines. Of course, we're dealing with alchemic disciplines. We're dealing with transmutation of energy. Thoth is also the deity that serves as the herald and messenger of the other deities. Both Hermes is related to and connected with the theology and philosophies of ancient world civilization. Hermeticism was extensively cultivated and spread throughout the known world by the Moors. It was through the Moorish Muslim philosophers, adepts, and scholars that Hermetic philosophy reached the Roman European nations in the late medieval period, and thusly by the way of the Renaissance literature. All right. So I wanted to go into that, having in front of our minds of what deity is, 7 hermetic principles, etc. Now I wanted to transition to a writ called Writ of Mandamus. So when we look at the word mandamus, we're dealing with we command. Mandamus is a judicial remedy in the form of an order from a court to any government, subordinate court, corporation, or public authority to do or forbear from doing some specific act which that body is obliged under law to do or refrain from doing, and which is the nature of public duty, and in certain cases, one of statutory duty. So now we know what mandamus is dealing with, right? So now we got writ of mandamus as the title of a writ. So here's a essentially an example of a writ, but of course you want to be competent enough to put your own writs together. But here's a just for structure purposes. So we have a writ from a federal court, and it's addressing a small claims court, and it's an order to a federal court to have the federal court basically check the state court for uh, breach of law, not doing things according to the law, etc. Right? All right. So of course, free national name, natural person, appropriate persona, ex rel to straw, not a corporate person or entity, etc. And this is just a template, but essentially you want to use some type of verbiage like that, letting them know your status. And this example will be versus a small claims court. That's the example that's being used right now. So come now, natural person, etc., etc. I'm not going to read all this, but you're going to lay the foundation of your national, your status, constitution, treaty, brief historical references of who your ancestors are, etc. Corporate, in this example, Article 20 and 21 was used to lay the foundation of why it needs to be in federal court and to set the tone for jurisdiction and diversity of citizenship. If any citizen of the United States or any person under the protection shall have any disputes with each other, the council shall decide between the parties. And whenever the council shall require any aid or assistance from our government to enforce his decisions, it shall be immediately granted to him. Article 21. If any citizen of the United States shall kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place, and equal justice shall be rendered. The council assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make an escape, the council shall not be answerable for him in any manner. So those two articles of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship lay the foundation for diversity of citizenship. It lays the foundation of the importance of having a council, multiple councils, and a body. That's why it's called a councilate. That's where that term comes from. But essentially, we just call them temples. But to the foreigner, outside looking in, councilate, right? All right. So once again, example, template. So you would essentially petition the court or the lower court to order the magistrate or you're going to petition the federal court in this example. So there's a writ is going to the federal court. This is an example to order the state court to do X, Y, Z. Islam, brother Reginald L. Um,
It's long.
Islam more. So whoever the more is going to petition or file this in federal court to order the magistrate in the lower court to enforce the default judgment filed. So that means you would have did some homework first, or not, yeah, not homework, but you would have did some due diligence, meaning that you would have did a writ of discovery, gave them a couple days to respond, followed up with a default, and got that file stamped by the clerk, that proof, because those essentially will become exhibits for federal court. So in this example, you would put when you filed the writ of discovery. Is there any questions on what a writ of discovery is before I continue?
No.
Okay.
But isn't original discovery is when you're asking what they're um, possibly you're trying to prosecute you with. So basically, like the details of what they're trying to blame you for.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Islam, appreciate
That's fine. Now, if anybody's not sure on what a writ of discovery is, just say so and I'll go over it. All right. So a writ of discovery was not honored. In support of this petition, I state for the record, one, an invitation dated February 25th was received from Small Claims Court in regard to a claim, in this case, Capital One Bank. Two, on March 16th, 09, a writ in the nature of discovery was sent, certified mail return receipt to Capital One Bank, requesting certified and verified official copies of loan-related documents prior to April 1st to make a physical inspection and verify and witness the same. This was a lawful demand and request under the rule of discovery. It was further stated to provide the information within 10 days of receipt of the notice of discovery. And, the number of days is on you. You could put 3, 10, 15. All right. So this example, 10 days was given. On March 19th, 2009, Capital One Bank received the writ in the nature of discovery. And that's, because somebody chose to, you can either choose to physically get something file stamped or you can send a certified mail. And as long as you got each page has the numbers that are on the certified mail receipt and it shows joinder. So once they get it, you're going to get a green card in the mail saying it got received by whoever the party you're sending it to. And if you don't get a green card in the mail, you can always go to USPS.com and type in the tracking number that you got. And as soon as it says, received, you can print that out as well. All right. So they received it. On April 1st, I made a special appearance to clear up this matter. I advised whatever the magistrate name is that a writ in the nature of discovery was submitted to Capital One Bank with a copy to the small claims court, at which the magistrate advised me that in small claims court, discovery requests do not have to be honored. 5, I stated for the record, a contract has to be disclosed as this is the premise for the claim, and without it, there can be no claims. All law is contract. On April 16th, 30 days after the writ of the nature of discovery was sent certified return mail to Capital One Bank, the notice of default judgment was submitted as the request made was not honored. Right, so that's the following up with the default, getting it file stamped, so you got proof that they got it, or certified mail. A reply dated April 28th was received from Small Claims Court stating the following. Um, Basically, they denied the motion. Now he's going. Now this is part of the affidavit going into the facts in a more summarized way. All law is contract. Therefore, in order for any claim to be made, the contract must be produced. For a magistrate to imply that the writ and the nature of discovery does not have to be honored is a violation of my constitutionally secure rights of due process. The Fifth Amendment required that all persons within the United States must be given due process of the law and equal protection of the law. And so, refusing to honor the writ in the nature of discovery, the denial of the notice of default judgment, magistrate name has violated her oath of office to uphold the United States Constitution. The Constitution for the United States of America binds all judicial officers at Article 6, wherein it says, quote, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges of every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. See Clause 2. At the Small Claims Court is administrative magistrate does not have jurisdiction to listen to hear arguments, presentation, or rationale. The parties of the Compact of the United States Constitution further agree that the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And that's in Article 9 of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution. So, meaning, if it's something that appears ambiguous, the rights go back to the people, or, the more. Which is back to the Constitution and the treaty as the measuring stick. When acting to enforce a statute and its subsequent amendments to the present date, the judge of the municipal court is acting as an administrative officer and not in a judicial capacity. Courts, in administrating or enforcing statutes, do not act judicially, but merely ministerially. Thompson versus Smith. And to really comprehend that, any statutes that they're trying to enforce, penal codes, they dissolve instantly and have no judicial capacity.
Islam, does that count as UCCs as well?
Yeah, UCC that's not law. It's not constitutional.
Are they the same thing as penal code?
They're not the same because the UCC is it means uniform commercial codes. So if you're dealing in commerce, it regulates commerce. So only thing that Moors typically use that for is when they want to express all rights reserved. Me personally, I don't even use UCC. I'll just simply write all rights reserved as my signature. You know what I'm saying? But some people say all rights reserved and they'll put a UCC next to it. But all rights reserved is suffice in contract law because you're basically saying you reserve your rights. And then if something happens later in the game, it's like, oh, what are those rights? Oh, contract law. What are all the elements to make a contract binding? And that's the road we're gonna go down.
It's
Uh,
Islam.
yeah, because I had I had that discussion with my lawyer recently, but it's like, as I learned, through the civics, through more science, like people are considered human capital. So technically, they being traded and bought and sold. You know what I'm saying? Where you talk about prison system and any of that. So and he didn't want to argue with me after I said it, but that's just because I'm dealing with him in a capacity with the straw man name. You know what I mean? I haven't Islam, but just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
I was wondering, Mafi, when you say you don't write UCC next to the all rights reserved, that's because you're if you do, that's basically acknowledging that you're playing by their rules type.
Yeah, I don't consider myself in a commercial act, activity. Like, you know what I mean? So those are laws that govern commercial affairs, uniform commercial codes. So essentially, yeah, those are codes, but they're not penal, but they're still codes. And
So you saying in a private capacity, it shouldn't be used.
yeah, I'll just simply just say all rights reserved, and that's it.
Islam.
Yeah, keep it real simple. Um, what was that? Okay. So ministerial officers. Oh no. Okay. Courts and administrative issues are prohibited from even listening to or hearing arguments, presentations, or rationale. So, that's why there'd be a lot of games being played in the municipal courts because they're not even in the business of hearing common law, jurisprudence, constitution, and treaty. And that's why me personally, I like using manuals and books that they have because there's always a remedy when you study, right? The municipal city codes and stuff like that, the quote unquote state constitution and all that. When you study it, you see it's always a remedy that takes you back to common law. And that was the whole point of me putting the Department of State Consular Notification and Access Manual in the book that I wrote, because it's not only law at the end of the day, but it's something that their specific department or precinct is deemed to get trained on how to deal with not, foreign nationals and their lingo. And their manual is going to take you to Article 6. But when you just off top, just quote the Constitution, you might get some, oh, you're a sovereign citizen. So I like to be more savvy in how I go about laying the foundation, which will ultimately take them to the Constitution anyway. Right, if that makes sense. So um that's where my mind went right now. Ministerial officers are incompetent to receive grants of judicial power from the legislator. Their acts in attempting to exercise such powers are necessarily nullities. The first one was a case law of ISIS versus US. Second one is Byrne versus Sapp. As a magistrate and officer of the court, refusal to honor the writ in the nature of discovery and notice of default judgment is a violation of the magistrate's oath of office. As a magistrate who would be well versed in law, knowingly committed fraud as she knowingly has been administering in a capacity which she does not have jurisdiction, delegation of authority, or judicial powers delegated from the legislator. So that's, once again, this is just for structuring purposes. Of course, everybody want to be competent enough to structure their own writs. This is just for formatting and flow. So after you lay the foundation on your position, Then it's the nature of relief section. So this action seeks the court to issue a writ of mandamus, compelling the magistrate to honor the default judgment, as the writ in the nature of discovery was not honored. The notice of default judgment must be honored, and all claims, petitions, suits, filings, and third-party corporations regarding my credit history dismissed or expunged. Then, of course, you end it, date, who you are. And one thing that is sort of missing on this one is, I don't know if everybody read the 10 Maxims of Law, but you want to end it with a little declaration saying, this is my truth. For, based on the laws of, like we just read, 7 Hermetic principles. You could base it on the Quran, Circle 7, pursuant to my ancestors, customs, whatever lingo you want to use, but you want to end it with like, I solemnly swear this is the truth, the whole truth, and just, whatever Moorish culture, law, rights of indigenous people, whatever you want to put, just to end it, to conclude it with something like that. And then that will cover all elements of what you call an affidavit. But I'm just gonna go, since I brought it up, a general writ of discovery. And so in this case, this writ of discovery was, challenging the Article 3 aspect. Was the court properly delegated, right? So pursuant to Article 3, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, judicial authority is vested in the Supreme Court or a lower court which has certified delegation of authority order for the record and on the record, and let the record show, forward a copy to the Superior Court. GA 15, which is delegation of authority order confirmed by Congress as a lawful and formal discovery. Now, once again, this would be the first thing, and then you follow it with a default. Let them default out, take it to federal court, and that's what the whole writ of mandamus was about. This was already executed. These become what you call Exhibit A and Exhibit B now. This and the default will be Exhibit B as your evidence in federal court. Let it be known for the record, on the record, let the record show, a response is required 21 days from the receipt of this letter. No copy of the certified delegation of authority order is received within the specified time frame. This affidavit of the discovery shall stand as law, affirming that this court does not have jurisdiction, as per Article 3, Section 2. So I'm not going to read all of it. I just wanted to show you essentially what you will file just to pop it off. Give them a couple days, put any case laws that you deem fit in your affidavit. Give them a couple days to respond, a week to respond or whatever. Follow up with a default. Now you got evidence and exhibit. Any questions on that?
No questions. Yeah, clear demonstration for sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm trying to get the brother on here. Let's see. Try to get. Just want to make sure one brother that wanted to get on. And he said he just has Skype. I'm trying to see if he get the invite, would it connect through Skype? 1 second here. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it's gonna work for him. The Skype situation. But yeah, man, that's wanted to go through that. Um, hopefully, that was helpful. It was more clear. I know Toledo, you was asking me something along those lines, and I know Quasicodo, you'd be trying to tap into this space too. So hopefully that was informative.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah. Any questions, thoughts? Or anything?
I said writing a writ is like when Brother Cujo was saying the Chinese or Manchurians were suing Florida. You know, that gives us the proper footing to basically, hey, you're violating us because 1, 2, and 3 and not speaking under said, privilege. And be like, no, these are actually outright. So the writ of discovery is something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We would be Moors and they would be Manchurians.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That was what I was thinking of as you was explaining. I was like, well, that's what the Chinese are doing. It was like Florida versus whomever the Manchurians or whatever name they were going by, but they were a nationality speaking. They weren't, colored people.
Right. Yeah.
I had a question. Where can I get a proper definition of like UCC that the courts pretty much go by as well?
The courts. What's that? Rephrase your question.
Like a definition of UCC or when they came about, and like an actual definition of what the universal commercial codes are
Oh,
that the
uh,
courts have to acknowledge.
uh, I don't know. That's what the courts have to acknowledge part. I'm not sure, but I know that the Uniform Commercial Code got created like in the 60s or something, or 50s, something that's,
In Virginia, right?
yeah. And they linked up with the bar. Um, so the mere fact that it got created that late lets you know that it wasn't even thought of when the Constitution was thinking, thought about, right? So when you just think about the acronym Uniform Commercial Codes, it kind of says it all. You're dealing with code, dealing with commercial activity.
And just to Camelback, the bar, just for those who don't know, they Freemasons too. They take oaths to keep
Mhm.
the truth from the people and to ignore the Constitution and all that, even though, they still under it.
Yeah, they'll put a lot of stuff in our face to. It's like they dangle a carrot, and that's why everybody doing this UCC financing statements and want to be the secure party creditor. I'm a secure party. I wanna make the straw man the debtor. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that are chasing after that. They catch wind of certain information and now they putting all their time and energy into that, and they'll find out that a lot of energy they put into that, and it's not really nothing at the end of the tunnel. Because for one, once you declare your nationality, you're not even dealing with a straw. Like you're saying, you're choking that out. You're saying, I'm killing that off. Because for one, on the birth certificate, what does it say? The state of whatever, and then that's the straw. So we know the United States is not a nationality, or the state of is not a nationality. is not a citizen of any national government. Now, it is a corporate citizen, technically, by definition, because corporations are citizens or persons. So think about that. If that's a corporate construct, that means it's not you. It don't belong to you. And that part, it don't belong to you. It's created by the state. You know what I mean? And so it's not yours. So when you look at it like that, you want to kind of disown it. Unless I was talking to a brother earlier, you're trying to, get business credit and tactically do, different business moves, then, people,
Islam.
stuff like that. You can build some credit through the straw. But outside of that, it ain't choke it out, man. Trying to look up something for the UCC origination. Let me see what comes up. I'm trying to look up something for you, Toledo, because I found something a while ago that I think it was UCC origination.
Yeah, I'm asking because since I kind of fumbled on the all rights reserved by the signature, but it was crazy because I did put an E, and then the cop was like, "No, you have to do the same signature that's on your license." So he kind of got me. I was forced to coercion for sure because he said if I didn't sign it the way he wanted me to, and he would have impounded the car, towed it.
Islam, I had a policy enforcer tell me if I didn't sign it the way he wanted me to, he was gonna arrest me. Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's a violation right there, forced to coercion for sure. Especially if you already made it clear if you're trying to follow through go through the Constitution. I didn't even give him any form of ID, but I did that might have been another place where I messed up because I verbally ID'd myself and he typed in my stuff and pulled up my information on the computer.
I mean, I still sent the ancestral dragon and a gargoyle to his house to Islam.
Hey, but
Wait,
so
I have a question. What was the reason he didn't like the way you signed?
Because they want you, they kind of know what's up. Well, he was the sergeant, or I called her the sergeant, and I'm pretty sure they've been through enough people that he knows that in order to make you guilty in court, you gotta sign it as it shows in your driver's license, so that he can prove that you're just corporate property.
mm-hmm.
And how did you sign?
I just put an E, but then he caught that, he knew I was up to something because he was trying to get me to sign in the first place. He said if I didn't sign the ticket, then he was gonna tow my car. And I just threw an E on there, and then he's like, "Oh, you have to sign it like it's like it's on your driver's license."
Yeah, that's how they get you. Like once you're in tribunals, they're gonna
That
look at
makes sense.
once they look at your driver's license. That's why you don't want to have a driver's license. Like in the Moorish paradigm, you want to have a nationality card because what's going to happen is the magistrate is going to look at the back, and I'm talking about from a Moorish perspective. When Moors go to court and be like, "Oh, that's not me," and then the magistrate be like, "Are you sure this looks like you on a driver's license and you signed the ticket? I see your signature on the ticket. It matches the signature on the back of your license. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother situation to try to be climbing out of. So that's why the cop wants you to sign for one, like that. So when you go to court, they can jam you up and be like, okay, it's the same signature that's on the back of your driver's license. So that's why all rights reserved, TDC, now they can't play that game. Like, oh, that ain't me. Like, you know what I mean? And, of course, we use the nationality cards anyways. So, but I'm just saying that's why they do that. They want something to link you to. You know what I'm saying?
as their property.
Yeah.
What's TDC again?
Threat, duress, and coercion.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I don't know if y'all can see. Y'all can see the screen still. Uniform Commercial Code's origin. You see, it say 1952. Y'all can still see the screen, or is it showing just our picture still?
Yeah, I see it.
So you see, the Uniform Commercial Code was first published in 1952. So it's rather new. So I wanted to show y'all that. 'Cause I know I spoke on it. I wasn't sure the exact year, but yeah, 1952. And you see, it's governing commercial transactions, right? So that's why I'm big. Me personally. I'm like, look, I'm not a I'm not a commercial entity, so I'm just gonna say all rights reserved. Period. But that's when I
Yeah.
show y'all that.
Man, I want to move properly, but I don't feel like I'm competent enough at the moment. So I don't know if it'd be wiser for me to try to beat them at their own game, which is, you know, I don't know. It's basically the judge probably has to be cool too. But, I guess that's a bad way to put it because you're just in their court.
I'm just gonna say, my first introduction to how to deal with court came from my seer, and I learned voodoo from my seer. Because he told me he walking the court, spin the obelisk on the desk, the judge throwing up, dismiss Islam. So that's where I'm like, that's more powerful than paperwork spells, but
Yeah,
I'm learning it all, Islam.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, them signs and symbols, man. But yeah, man. If you're not feeling comfortable, don't exercise. At the same time until it's all clicking with you. You know,
Yeah. I got about 2 months. I think I could get something in, you know. I'll figure it out. Either way, like you said, it's a learning experience. But I don't know. I feel like the cop is gonna show up, but I've also had it where I where I take it all the way and the cop doesn't even show up. But he got me like on 3 infractions. I have a feeling he's gonna want to show up, especially he's probably gonna take it personal because of the way that I called the sergeant and so-called wasted their time, even though they're supposed to be public servants, so that's their job. They're getting paid by the hour. They were wasting my time.
right? Yeah, man. Um, yeah. See how it play out, man. Go in there with a couple case laws.
In a skull necklace around your neck. Bet you they be trying to get up out of that court fast.
Right. Yeah, man. Let me get the.
There's way too many case laws, but like I don't know. I mean, I guess that should work, right? They're supposed to honor that in a perfect world.
Right. Once again, Article 4, Section 1. Full faith and credit. That's how you just, link it to that. And just start asking the questions. Like, I'm kind of puzzled. Just act puzzled in there. Like, I don't, because the whole thing, they want to make sure, like, do you understand what's going on? Like, do you understand the nature of the charges? And just be like, no, I'm kind of puzzled. I don't. And then they gonna start asking why. Why, sir? Like, then you just start going in. Article 4, Section 1. It
Yeah,
goes into this, and case laws are, you heard of res judicata, right? It's stare decisive, right? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. So this would be a case law and something that was decided upon, judicial proceeding.
And there's way too many of those, man. Way too many case laws
Yeah,
that will work in our favor.
yeah, man. Just try it out.
You gotta understand, like, just the policy enforcers themselves, they didn't really start letting melanated people into the force until like what, the 60s, 70s. That's why you watch the police academy movies. It's all about making fun of the melanated people who coming into the force. If you really watch them, so just to say ancestrally, they feel it's in their best interest to keep us out of our states so they can keep doing what they're doing. So of course they won't acknowledge certain things Islam unless they know, or Islam, then they tie to that oath and all that.
Yeah. I see how all of that's set up, man, how they ridicule, and it came to the point like, what's that? The the speech, that one speech where it's self perpetuating now, where they got us making fun of ourselves. Like I don't ever hear no hillbilly jokes. It's always has to do with Mexicans or so called black people.
Islam, like I said, melanated people in general, Islam, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Sometimes it's just about just doing like a little spar, man. Especially if it's something minor. Just go in there and hit them with something. Just get a little back and forth. And I like to play puzzle. The whole puzzle thing. I'm puzzled. That
Yeah.
that goes a long way, man. Because what happens is they're gonna start asking questions like, once they start asking you questions,
Like a spook by the door almost.
yeah, you feel me? Like,
That's like how you were I forget one of our things we were studying how when it comes to contract law, if one of the parties interpreted the contract differently, then it's a null and void or something like that.
yeah, yeah, everybody gotta be of the same mind, meeting of the mind, yeah, you know. So
And I did state it like when I was speaking to the officers, I was telling you I'm not transporting any goods or any people. I'm just, traveling.
yeah, man, and don't forget about the Articles of Confederation. Um, that's the contract. The Constitution, the treaty, the Articles of Confederation. Those are all contracts. And Article 4, man. You've gone to and fro each state without any impositions. You know, so throw that in.
On RV Bay, do they have a residue judicata page? Like to have different case laws that already been decided on. So you don't need like a lot of them, just like three that you can remember that we all can remember, so you're not overbearing. Kind of
Mhm.
like using a fork or a knife or a spoon, just choose one type of. I think there's like certain case laws, certain things that have already been decided on. So that way you just stay on that, regardless of how they say stuff. Like, no, this has already been decided on through the Supreme Court, woo, 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 and back and forth. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, man. What you want to eat with, man? You want you want to eat with the spoon, the fork, the knife. You know what I'm saying? That's all on you. But yeah, that's a good point. Not to get too overwhelmed, because you kind of when you're new at doing that, you're gonna feel like you're on stage, you're gonna have butterflies and stuff. So you're gonna just keep it somewhat simple, or your approach. And
Get like 3 hitters, huh?
yeah, just get your position and stay on that. And yeah, but like I say, because I seen people when we were waiting to go up. Because typically, what happens when you go this route, um, they're gonna either make you go last or first, and most of the time it's last. But nobody will, hear what's going on. You're gonna be the only one in there. And they don't want the audience, people in the gallery, to really hear what you're saying out your mouth. And just don't let them trip you up, man.
Yep.
Just play, like I say, play like I'm puzzled. I don't really get what this not making sense to me. If this says this, then what is this? Like, you know what I mean? Just keep it on, just keep it on that. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, man.
I just gotta study it.
Hmm.
So you know how you say the 14th Amendment was like it's a fraud, right? It was after the fact.
Right.
Wh- which ones are the ones that were original?
They're called the Bill of Rights,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah, that's right.
it's only 10 of them. It's only
10
10,
of them.
10 Bill of Rights. So the first 10 amendments would be the real ones.
So those are the ones that we need to memorize.
Right. Right. Yep. The first 10 is heat, all heat. You're dealing with it covers the warrants, what due process is, what a warrant is. It covers, private property, how it's supposed to be protected.
That's another thing too. If they were threatening to impound the car, that would have been unreasonable search and seizure.
Right. Right. And no due process. Because remember, what the due process is indictment. Well, not even before the indictment, we got an injured party.
Shalom more.
Islam. You know, we got a injured party. We got
Changed my name up here.
we got a written affidavit from that written injured party. The affidavit goes to the grand jury. The grand jury decides if it's enough elements in a human being that's saying they got injured to have a collective decision to have an indictment. Then the indictment gets served, and then when you're talking about getting served, you're talking about what's all going in the packet. And when you get served, you're gonna see the original uh, affidavit. The person that's saying they got injured is gonna be part of that, and then you're gonna have your opportunity to cross-examine. All that's due process. It's not just you show up. So keep that in mind too. That's all part of the Bill of Rights.
So
You
if
know,
they want to take it to trial, there would have to be an affidavit. Who would fill out the affidavit? Would the cop claim to be an injured party, or
what's happening, what's going on is the municipality is the injured party. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm saying that's what that's how
like
they're
the
that's how they move
this
it.
the city or whatever, the state
Yeah, the city or the
versus?
state, and then the DA of the city or state is saying he's the people. So remember, we're saying it has to be an injured party, an actual person, a natural person. Um, the DA is saying he's that person that got injured. That's what he's basically saying. You injured him. But of course, that's not going to fly because the DA is not the one that's saying he's being injured. He's saying the the municipal corporation got injured, so I'm representing the municipality as the people.
Yeah. And
But
they're probably gonna try to blame it on the roads that the taxpayers pay for and the officers' time and all that.
mhm. So that's how you got to go in there and shut that down with. I think the Sixth Amendment, you got the right to face your accuser, right? So when you facing your accuser, you get to see like back to the discovery, like where's the evidence that it was an injured party? Because back to the case law, uh, Scherer versus Cullen, Scherer versus Cullen.
Question.
Mhm.
Now I've asked for a trial by declaration before. So when I did that, they just ended up of course I pleaded not guilty to the ticket or whatever. But it's like, they end up dismissing it. Like a lot of times, I mean, when you do something out of the ordinary, they be then dismissed it. That was one point I was gonna make. But I was gonna ask trial by declaration, couldn't you send the writ as the declaration or the paper, like, because now the trial is on paper, right? Or just question.
Um, Me personally, I like making them physically bring a trial because now we're talking about the jury of your peers. And if you're saying you are more, your peers are not U.S. citizens now. Your peers aren't black, Negro, color, Latino, Hispanic, Indian people once you come in as a Moor, right? So the reason I like forcing a physical trial is because they're gonna have to be 6 and 6. 6 Moors, 6 U.S. citizens. And you see where that's gonna go.
Oh wow, that's yeah, I didn't know that.
Islam. So when you say the numbers because of the trial, uh, you saying, well, I mean, if you can get 5 more to come with you to court, you saying Islam?
Right. You're gonna come ideally you want to come as a body. Because you never, want to handle a situation like I'm just whoop de whoop, Bay or L. You want to say, oh, I'm a counsel on behalf of or whatever temple, and I'm the consular officer. It's an issue with one of our citizens based on the treaty, based on the Constitution. Where is the violation? And mainly the treaty. When you're coming in like that, you're gonna open up the treaty. And that's why I keep bringing up the Department of State Consular Notification and Access Manual, because when you read it, it's going to say, this manual was based on international law, specifically Article 6, Clause 2. And it's a little quote in the manual stating, um, treaties are the supreme law of the land. It says that in the manual, you know. So that means any disputes between citizens of two separate nations, the treaty will be the measuring stick on how to resolve it, or to see if it was a violation in the first place. You know what I mean? So you want to come as a collective, as a temple or
Hey,
with the,
peace,
yeah.
peace, Mark. Peace, Mark. I have a quick question. Sorry to interrupt. Um, I wanted to ask, like, okay, so is that in any situation you would need, a body, of people to come to a situation like that, or you could like, take care of it, on the behalf.
Yeah, you want to, if there's not a body with you, you want to come as if you an ambassador for the body. Like if it end up just being one or two people, then you want to just say I'm an ambassador of, whoop de woo woo Moorish Temple, say Khalifa Society, whatever the body politic is called, Moorish
Mhm.
Science Temple, and I'm an ambassador. It appears to be a situation with one of our citizens, um, with the violation, you know. So that's better than coming at one person because remember, it's supposed to be a nation of people. You know,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
it just seemed like they know they being unlawful. So they if they see more than one more come in, they like, oh well, we don't need too many people bringing attention to the fact we not doing what we supposed to do by the Constitution. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. So you saying pretty much just one person would be like, okay,
Always strengthen numbers.
okay, 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 okay.
But like since everybody got lives, at least bring a representative, right? Like a consular is what you're saying, right, Mafi?
right.
Because saying I'm a consul of a group of Moors, as opposed to saying, "Oh, I'm just here on my own. I looked this up." Then they like, "Oh well, he probably got a whole sea of Moors behind him."
Yeah, they're gonna be
Like,
like,
keep it
oh
real. That's what
shit.
it be. Because they
Uh,
straight cheating the Constitution. That's all.
yeah. So no. So what I'm saying is like maybe I'm not really quite understanding. So you saying I know it's better to go in a group, but what if like you could do it by yourself? Because I'm not gonna lie, like for me, when I had a few charges on myself, this is before I claimed my nationality. I stood up on my own and beat every charge that I ever had. Dude, and then my charges was put. Some of them was well, I'm not even supposed to. I wouldn't even say I'm not supposed to be here, but how they try to down me, and in their eyes, I wasn't supposed to be here, kidnapping, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So,
Islam, I also want to say a lot of us be having ancestors with us and don't know it, and we'll be
uh,
saying things off the top of our head, conscious of things we don't understand, but our ancestors just trying to save us and get us out that situation.
okay,
Islam.
Islam.
I think I know what you're saying. No, you're asking if you can be the consular representing yourself. Like I
Yeah,
am the ambassador and I'm also representing myself type.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have that question too, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could, you could do that. Um, but ideally, for psychological purposes and in the name of the law, like I just read earlier, Article 20 and 21 of the treaty. You notice how I said the lingo. If any council or if any citizens of the United States need help from the council, it'll be afforded to them. Um, that's in harmony with what we're talking about now. But an ideal world, want to be part of a body means plural, and then somebody outside of yourself will go in and speak. But if you can't do that, then yeah, that's what you got to do. You know,
Yeah, that does
Okay,
make sense though. They're gonna try to bully you and see like what do you really know. But yeah, if you have somebody else, it looks more professional.
right?
okay. I see, I see, I see, I see.
And they'll try and irritate you and get you out your character, and then be like, see, he ain't no more.
Right.
They that's what they try to do or upset you so you can get out of your principles and then try to classify you. You see, he's a Negro.
Right. Right. Yep.
Okay, yeah. They definitely will try to do that really, really fast. Flip the script, flip the storyline.
But yeah, competent as possible. And then, the better that the affidavit is structured, the better too. You know,
What's your narrative? What do you mean when you say that?
or you came in kind of late, so you would. So we went through a little demo right now, to set yourself up for a suit. And what I mean by that is you'll file what you call a writ of discovery first. That's an affidavit, and that sets the grounds on what evidence do you have against me. Let me see that, and show me that you properly, for one, delegated. Um, you're are you an Article 3 judge? Um, you know, Article 3 is dealing with our judges properly delegate, or the court itself that the magistrate is part of. If it's not the Supreme Court, it needs to be delegated, have proper delegation from Congress. And it's equivalent to, like I said, you getting a haircut, you're gonna see something on the wall, your barber saying that they went to school, properly trained. It's on the same tip.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that you
Okay.
would ask for
Okay.
pursuant to Article 3, right? And you would have that in your discovery package. Give them a couple days to respond, because if you in a building that doesn't have authority for you to hear the matter, then that's, who are you? We all right now can put on robes, run out a building, and be like, we judges. We you know, you've been you start sentencing people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it starts, though, man. You got to play the role till you start believing in yourself, and then it becomes real. That's manifestation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Quasicoda phone died, but yeah, man. You want to just check the credentials and then follow up, give them a couple days to respond, follow up with a default. So here you go. That's what I meant when I said make sure all those affidavits, the writ of discovery and the default affidavit, just make sure it's thorough as possible. Laid out in such a way where it's competent. Boom, 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 boom. Ain't a lot of just run on sentences, a bunch of just, you know, you got the history here. You got, what I mean? You want to just very sound and simple. Um, and then what's going to happen is they're going to read it, and then they just want to make sure when they actually see you physically that you talking the same talk that's on the affidavit. Like you know it, like the principles of which you submitted. Because most people out here, man, they just follow the paperwork and thinking that's gonna set them free. Like they don't need to know what's on the paperwork. So just think of the paperwork as an exhibit. Like you just filing that for the record for later in the game when you got to go to federal court or a higher court to blow the whistle on the fraudulent lower courts.
Mm.
But you need to know what you're talking about when you're in the actual making your special appearance. And I'm saying special appearance because if you ever just sit in the gallery and watch the court go, you watch people come up, boom, 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 they get done, and somebody else come up, you're gonna hear the DA be like, whoop de whoop whoop, making a general appearance on behalf of somebody's straw name, right? So in law, special appearance, distinguished from general appearance, is what you want to say in those tribunals.
Special appearance. Okay.
Special appearance.
Okay. That's like.
Oh, my bad.
No. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I was just asking about the writ of mandamus. That's that has to be filed, like, if you claim a nationality, though, only, right? It wouldn't apply as a corporate citizen.
Yeah, no, it's it's universal based on just law. You're saying you're filing a mandamus because the law was not upheld by the municipal court. You're going to a higher court and saying, you know what, you higher court, you need to instruct this lower court to operate in law. And then the previous affidavit that you filed in the lower court become exhibits now later in the game in the federal.
And you write that you write the mandamus before they come to a decision, like a verdict.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a question about colorable law, right? Because I've seen Europeans exercise the Constitution too, and like he's talking about the mandate or whatever. I've seen Europeans talk about it too. So are they? But they not. They're still foreign to country to the country, right? Like I'm trying to understand how that worked. Are they, are they still not under colorable law as white because that's still a color, you know what I mean? Or is that white in the capacity of on a different level? You know what I mean?
That's a good question, bro.
Yeah, so you would have to investigate that case to see if these people are British nationals, French nationals, Dutch nationals coming in to these courts. Now,
So it
Wow.
applies to them if they're national, period.
no, that's on one side of the coin. I'm just saying that could possibly be the case. And then on the other side of the coin, you have to see that if what kind of how and what context were they enforcing the law, like, because that matters too. If it's
Well,
simply
one recently, it was like a white truck driver, and this wasn't necessarily court. He was doing what they call a WA bin form, which the IRS give you can like I've done it before. You can get a job, but at the same time, it's only for those who aren't U.S. citizens. But I saw a European use it. He
Stop
used it. He
playing.
taught me how to use it. Like WA bin forms, you can get them offline from the IRS site, and it's like it's for non-U.S. citizens. But he had no accent, British or none of that. It just kind of threw me off a little bit, and I wasn't the only more learning from this dude. You know what I mean? Islam. But
yeah,
I used the information, but I was just still wondering to myself, well, he's European, like, or he's of European descent. You know?
yeah. So that WA bin form, for one, it's an internal revenue form, so it's under their jurisdiction. Two is dealing with um tax treaty benefits. So basically, your position, they have forms like if your nationality of people got treaties with the United States, you don't get taxed, right? Um, so that's just for everybody who had never heard of the WA ban. That's what that's about. Um,
Right. So I still I didn't put any information on there about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship because it didn't seem like it was really talking about that Islam. So, but I know it says it's for non-U.S. citizens on the document Islam. So
yeah, let me just pull it up.
Yeah, I just looked up the foreign. I ain't really tap into it, but it's a foreign W. They got a W. It's called W8 bin form. That's what you talking about?
Yeah,
yeah, WA Ben, I might be missing a letter or two or whatever. Maybe not, but once it's gonna say non. It definitely says that it's for foreigners, not it's not for U.S. citizens. That's on there. It's the only document that says that
yeah.
that they got.
It says to
I wonder if
collect.
they. Oh shoot,
I'm
my
gonna
bad.
share. I'm gonna share it
It
right now.
says no collect. It says to collect correct non-residents, aliens, or NRA taxpayers information for individuals for reported purposes and to document their status for tax reporting purposes. That's what it says.
Can everybody see the form on the screen?
Let me
Yeah.
see.
I ain't gonna lie too. The European
I can see it.
he put under country of citizenship. He put heaven of the Most High on Islam, and it worked.
What? Stop playing.
On it, Allah.
Hey, that's how he probably claims to be a natural citizen. But if they really wanted to go after him, they could probably try to use. But they probably don't want to go after him.
But that makes sense. He probably was claiming to be not. That makes sense. That kind of click.
So he
But yeah,
pretty
he
much,
he he teaching classes, bro. They ain't went after him, so they must be scared of something. Maybe it's just the Most High vibration.
Yeah,
yeah.
because we all are, God's children.
So you say so hold on. So this form, you say this form. I mean, thank you for letting me know. But you said this form is for people that is not citizens of the United States, right?
Islam,
Or I
but
mean,
for us in our particular situation, we would have to be Moors because I mean, at the end of the day, we have to claim our nationality because
of course. So this what
um,
so you saying this form right here will benefit us?
I've used it, Islam. Some companies don't take it, and I had some companies where they had to take it, Islam, but some I didn't even press the issue, Islam, because they have to really take it. You
And
know,
that's the thing, man. If we were all unified and a company refused to take it, that's when you could do them civil lawsuits and be like,
my
look,
advice, the
I'm
advice.
I'm
Oh,
I'm
sorry to
indigenous.
interrupt you, more. The
Oh yeah,
advice I had, the advice I had got from the Moore, really quick. The advice I had got from the Moore to use this. He was saying make sure, he was like, how long have you been in there? He was like, make sure you've been in there working for a little bit. And I was like, I was doing security at a club. I had been working for like 3 months without signing anything because they needed work. So they had to take it at that point, Islam, because I had already worked for them. You know, and they didn't do the proper due diligence to that.
Teach me some new
people are
stuff, bro.
people are just so indoctrinated that they see forms like this and they're gonna automatically, be like, nah, this ain't right. But like I was saying, like if we're more unified, moving together, and got a big old nation behind you, that's when if your employer denies this, that's when you can get real tricky with the law and do civil lawsuits and if you really
Is
want to
Yeah.
suppress the issue,
Islam, and that's
because
why
by
I
law
say
they're supposed to take it.
right. That's why I say, it's just as this form seems just as esoteric or hidden knowledge as our nationality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't even know nothing about this, bro. I thought this was like a W-2 or something like that, you know?
I
I heard
just feel
about the
like, hey, if you're gonna
W-10 and
stand
all
on
that.
your nationality, why,
Because if your
and that's
employer don't take
esoteric.
it, they're violating your rights, the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People. You have the right to nationality. You cannot be discriminated against, all that good stuff. Them
Mm,
rejecting this form would be like them discriminating against you.
okay. So that's why you saying is better when you do things like that is to have a body with you when you get into these type of functions, right? Am I correct?
Well, I was talking
I
about,
would say.
I was talking
Islam. I
about
mean,
this
the
specifically.
the better ladder would be for us to have our own businesses and all that. But like you said, we need unity for that. So if I was gonna contract with the system, I would use this, and otherwise I wouldn't do it. Islam. I'm not doing no W-9s. I'm not doing none of that.
Well,
Islam.
That's
this is
crazy.
what I was talking about, though. This is what I was talking about as far as when I said
Yo.
the tax treaty benefits. That's what I was talking about. Part two of this form.
Islam. Yep. And I started to use the treaty of peace and friendship, but I was like, it didn't really seem like it fit right there. But what you think about looking at it though? Islam, mafia.
Well, it's right here. On certify that the beneficial owner is a resident, and you're gonna say Morocco
Morocco.
I did put that.
between the
I
treaty.
actually put out Morocco,
Yeah, you know,
so they wouldn't try to identify me with Morocco, the kingdom of Al Morocco is
Ah,
Islam.
That's
yeah.
right.
But like I say, I don't, I don't pay taxes. Like I've never filed this. So
I'm already knowing more. I'm not a fan of this neither. Islam. I needed the bread at the time, and I had been doing security 15 years.
so
yeah,
Add to the
question.
knowledge.
So,
yeah. If you got a straw, and you working for somebody, and this will help you not for them to get your whole check and nothing coming out of it. Oh shit! If it's smooth, yeah.
oh man, I wish I would have knew about this when I was working with the merchant seaman, bro. I would have been put this in.
Yeah, if you can do everything from your but see that's the thing up here, you would know how to fill it out. You would know that line number 5, US taxpayer identification number, social security, ITN. If that's a requirement, then that's just a no go because you're gonna be looked at as a it's back to you to straw.
Yeah,
You
Which
know,
part was that?
that's
uh,
the
Number
I
five,
think
time for
number 5. Yeah.
I put and right there I had put not a U.S. citizen. I just put that there, not a U.S. citizen. Period. Like it was accepted.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys know how to fill it out. And you come up with
Bro, I'm gonna
this.
need your number, bro. Cause this right here, bro, I'm working for the merchant seaman, bro. Like
Hey, I'm gonna be
literally.
honest though, what the Muslim was saying earlier about knowing how to enforce it, because like I said, I was on the job like 3 months before they had to accept it because I could go back and be like, get them in trouble, like, oh, y'all had me working without even
Okay.
signing up. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and that's how the more advised me to go about it. So I'm just saying that so you know, don't get too excited. You know, it's still like just like going to court. It's a little game. You know what I mean? They don't want to
Yeah.
acknowledge the truth, Islam, but this official. This from the IRS site. So Islam
Do they change it every year?
and IRS ain't official, Islam.
But worry, see, you need to worry about not necessarily about because it's just been around since at least 10, 15 years now. This form, but you
Right.
need to know about how to fill it out and don't get rocked to sleep because that's what's gonna put you what they're gonna call fraud. If you slip up and put a social security number just because your habits or when you fill out stuff, you just on call. Most people do that. Most people when the IRS asks for the information, they hurry up and put in their social. They think it's mandatory. Like, oh, okay.
Islam, that's true.
So don't if you do that on here, it's gonna be looked at as fraud. So remember not to do that. And remember to
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Because they gonna say how you not a U.S. citizen and you got a social security number.
Right.
It's like once you start opening those doors, you got to know how to keep moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I say, me personally, I don't use, I do like minimum contact, man. Like I say, I'm trying to get some business credit. I'm gonna do some things to, you know, line myself up where I look good on paper or whatever the case may be, or and just make a move on credit wise. But other than that, it's like minimum contact, man. I don't try not to use the straw for nothing, man. Like I'm nationality card. Even when I go to the gym, my nationality card, a mafia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody call me Mafia. That's what you can Google Mafia. So it's gonna be an author of a book that show up. So it's just about putting, and that's public record. That that being known as Mafia as an author, that's on the public record, which means
Right.
nobody debated it. So that means that stands as fact, and it's back to the 10 maxims of law, right? So you want to have a lot of stuff like that in the public where people know you as woo 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 woo, or more. You know what I'm saying? XYZ. Because now as the years go on, that's gonna be like, oh, that's mafia, oh, more. So if there ever is a situation later in the game,
And when you sign it, you gotta put the bay at the end, and it's a way that you put an apostrophe before it. Because even the European, he had to put his family name on there. But it's like you gotta use the bay. But it's like your first name a dash. I'm not sure. I don't want to say it incorrectly, but yeah, just saying that it's like Mafia was saying, you got to fill it out right.
Yeah.
yeah, getting used to,
It's a trip, man. All this stuff is real. Like the other day, one of my coworkers left his ID in the car, and he's a Mexican citizen, and on their card it says consular ID card. So
see,
I know that the Mexican government is, they're probably in cahoots with the U.S. government and doing little corporate exchanges, because they use it. But that consular, like if he gets in trouble, they've got to go through the guide. If he gets pulled over, they
exactly,
probably would deal with them. Even Mexican citizens, they would deal with them differently than they would a United States citizen.
because they nationals, they
That,
foreign nationals, they foreign to the United States. And what's foreign? Their mind.
You hear that? Yeah,
They
that's a
are.
trip, huh, Mafia?
That's the only thing
Yeah,
that
the
separates
mind. Oh,
is their mind.
their
They
mind is
know who
foreign.
they are. They know who they are, so they got to go through different protocols with them. That's foreign nationals, people with
Foreign
different
national.
mind frames that know they self. You know what I mean? Non-U.S. citizens. So I mean, we ain't got their mind. If if they ain't got your mind, you a national. You know what I'm saying?
damn, that even changes the frequency of how the aura that you let off too. Because when I go to like Mexico, I feel like they look at me like, it's a U.S. citizen. You know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker, he thinks he's better than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because like we all think about it, man. Like from the outside looking in, like all the people Aboriginal and Indigenous just want to be looked at as stars in a foreigner system. You know what I mean? Like that's all our aspirations is. Like what most of our people think is making it over here is job security.
The stuff they glorify on TV since we was children to try and bait us into that negative
Yeah,
aspect. You know what I'm saying? And like,
That's
well,
true,
we
man.
got to be negative to get this bread type. That's just what it is. I don't want to be like, oh, I feel it be like Kanye, or the Ashkenazi Jews, the Roman Catholic Jews. I don't.
That's true though, because when a European U.S. citizen go to Mexico, they want to do everything for them. Oh, oh, oh. They're looked at as celebrities.
Sure. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're kind of, Mexico's kind of set up the same way. I mean, the Spaniards did their conquest and they got their own thing over there where, darker Mexicans get more prejudice than lighter skin.
Mm.
The Inquisition was everywhere.
yeah. That caste system, man. You know. But I'm curious because I saw some, Mexicans with some fezzes on, and they were like in a classroom setting. I was curious for the city in Mexico that was.
I know more that went out there to start a temple. That was before he found his nationality, classified as Mexican. So that was like a year ago. So I know him and his family went out there.
Oh, and it's a different vibe, huh? Like you got the feds on out there.
I don't know. I ain't talked to Herman in a minute. I'll have to give him a call and see how he doing Islam. But he was going out there to do the prophet missionary work, Islam. So
That's cool.
Okay.
I'm curious from that too. I seen that picture too. I don't know if it's like, yeah, it must be in Mexico, huh? Because if they were here, we would probably know about them.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, because I feel like a lot of this stuff, they don't want it to be glamorized for sure. But
Yeah.
those who know know.
Speaking on fringes, right? I haven't even. I don't. I think I had ordered one. I haven't received mine. Well, I haven't received mine.
Fringes.
Uh, say it again.
What happened you received?
My friends.
What's that?
My fringes.
What? I don't know. What you mean by? I'm not sure what you mean.
Not my fringes, but my what is it called? My
yo, feds, nah, they
no, not that. It was not my fez. It was forgot the name of it. Please
describe
forgive me.
what it look like.
It's I wear mine all the time, but it's turban. My bad, turban. I apologize. I don't know how I got.
Islam.
my bad, bro. My bad, bro. My bad. It must be that time. It's 12:55 over here. You little pay me though, but yeah, my turban.
Oh yeah, no, it was in the same box with the hoodie.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I ain't never received it.
No, no, it was in the same box with the hoodie.
Okay, 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 okay.
You remember it came back?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. You know my like I said, it's 12:55. Past my bedtime.
Islam, more you on the East Coast?
Yeah, brother, I am. Slime,
Yeah, I hear
slime.
you. I hear your accent, Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, it's all good, man. But yeah, man, we had a cool little build, man. Hopefully, took notes with the mandamus scenario. Um, how to apply it in order. Writ of discovery, default. Get a file stamp, certified copy. You know, um, we got the WA bin, test out of whoever working for somebody. Test that out. You also got the W4T as an option. But yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis for tonight. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. And I'll see everybody on Friday, 8 o'clock Cali time. And yeah, peace and love to everybody. Islam.
Peace and love.
Islam. Love.
Islam.
Islam.
Thank you.
Islam.